G'day and welcome to another edition of Hef's Beer Reviews. Today I'm reviewing this beer here, Werribee Draught, best in the West. Comes courtesy of Rory Doherty from Backyard Beer Brothers. This beer is brewed especially for the Bridge Hotel, so a pub in Werribee. Werribee, if you're not aware, is in the outer western suburbs of Melbourne, where Rory hails from, and he was kind enough to send this can up to me. 355 mils, 4.3% is the ABV, so 1.2 standard drinks. Let's crack it on open and we'll give it a pour into this glass here. It's from a now defunct brewery down here in the Illawarra, the Cold Coast Brewing Co. Now, I believe that this beer is a typical Australian lager. It is all malt though, according to the ingredients at least on the back of the can. Certainly smells like a typical Australian lager. Looks like a typical Australian lager. We've got a very clear, almost straw, but I'll say light golden appearance with a good 2 fingers of bright white head. Definitely Pride of Ringwood hops in this one. And some sweet grain coming through, some sweet malt. Looks and smells pretty good. Let's tuck on in. Cheers. Pretty light in body, as you'd expect at 4.3%. Just a light amount of bitterness, not a whole lot to speak of. There's a bit of dryness about the finish. Makes you want to go in for another sip. It's clean, it's refreshing. The flavour profile is typical of an Australian lager, especially a macro lager, even though this is not produced by a macro brewery. There's some sweet malt. There's the unmistakable earthiness of the Pride of Ringwood hops. Certainly sessionable. If you are a VB drinker, let's assume that you are, if you're in Melbourne, maybe if you're into your Melbourne bitter, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't like this one. I'm not sure of the price point, but if you're a local, why wouldn't you support one of your local breweries if they're producing a beer like this? And I must say, although hardcore craft beer drinkers give the macros a hard time about the beers that they produce, it's undeniable that it takes a lot of skill and you need to have a very, very solid process to be able to produce a light lager with the consistency and on the scale that they do. And I reckon this stands up pretty well against any of those. One more sip will give it a score. It's pretty hard to fault. Pretty hard to fault for an Australian lager. You know, a typical pub draft. So for the Werribee Draught, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 for Werribee Draught. If you happen to find yourself in that neck of the woods, definitely pop into the Bridge Hotel, get yourself some Werribee Draught on tap, get a few takeaways as well. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time on Hef's Beer Reviews.